Hello Zainey friends, thank you for being part of our Zainey fam. Today we are talking about mind over makeup, the lies of the stage. This is all about contouring, highlighting, and other ways that you can change the way that your face might appear. Before we start, make sure you don't miss any of our interactive opportunities.
Make sure you like and subscribe, but we have something kind of different we're doing now where you can also hit that notification bell and then comment down below Zainey notifications. And if you do all four of those things, all four, then we will shout you out in a future video. So make sure you don't miss that. If you want to follow us on social media, make sure you look for that right here. And if you are a content creator, make sure you join us in our Geeks and Beauties community so that you can do a lot more different things like collabs and support and all that jazz. So also, before we start, let's do comments, because last time we did this series, I got a lot of really great recommendations for things you guys wanted to know the background of and how to do. So if you have more of those, please put those down below so we know what you guys want to see.
This is all based off of that, so just keep on commenting and we'll see what we can dig up so you can know more about what you're doing to your face.
Especially because we had a whole list of ones and then you guys like threw some more at us and we were like, oh, we didn't even think of that. So, yes, keep those coming. It's very good.
So today we're going to be talking all about contouring. So what exactly is contouring?
Well, why don't you tell me? You did the research.
Oh, I did.
Well, okay, so let me tell you what contouring is for me. I do not bronze, even though I'm very pale skinned. I don't tend to bronze. I basically contour. So anytime I talk about bronzing, like a bronzer, I use it for contour mostly. For me, it is just kind of defining the lines of my face. Because I have a very round face, I like to kind of, contour in different places to make my face seem maybe a little skinnier, a little more, lithe? I don't know what word to use for that. Whatever.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, contouring is basically that. It's the use of darker tones and lighter tones in order to shape the face, to make it look a little different. And that's working based off of an artist's technique and an optical illusion. When you look at different colors, darker colors and cooler colors tend to recede in the vision, where lighter, warmer colors will tend to pop out. So when you're using contouring, what you're doing is you're placing down some darker tones and some lighter tones to not only add the effect of a shadow, but to make some areas of your face go back away from the viewer and other areas to pop forward.
And this is kind of funny because I would use this technique. I mean, I took stage makeup a couple times in college. I've been doing theater for a little while. I am not as fantastic as you see people doing it, like real professional makeup artists. I am not that good at it. And many times you'll see in my videos, I will blend, but the moment I see myself on camera, I'll go, oh, I did not blend enough. So we're gonna try a couple of different things today. While he's talking, I am going to contour my face. I'm gonna go right here, and I'm also going to do down the bridge of my nose, and he can kind of explain a little more what I am doing when I do this. I'm using the Balm's Balm Desert as a contour. It is for very light, cool tone. This is pretty good for me. And then as far as the brush I'm using for my face, I'm going to be using this, which you've seen probably floating around the internets. I got this on Amazon. I don't remember. I can leave a link down below for you, but it is not Prime, by the way, for all of you. It is coming from, I think, China. So it took a little while longer to get here, but I really like it because it's got this like really interesting, like tapered up brush so that you can just stick it right here. I'm also going to try to use it on my nose, although I haven't had a lot of success with a big brush like this on my nose. I might have to use like a skinnier flat brush, which we'll get to in a minute. So
yes, actually what she's been talking about is another technique used by artists in making highlighting and other shades. When we're doing shading, we tend to just make a flat color where we're going to be painting, and then we add a dark tone into an area like she's doing now, and then a light tone in another area, and then we'll blend it out. And that's going to give the face and the canvas the illusion of shape and form.
I'm going to use this brush right here. It's just a really puffy powder brush, I guess. I'm just going to use this to kind of buff out the lines. You can see it's very like angular right now, okay? So I'm going to use this to kind of buff it out a little bit so there aren't a lot of harsh lines.
Yeah. Now, contouring has gotten a lot of flack in recent years because there It's gotten a lot more popularity as well, but a lot more looks have been coming out where women have been able to make it look like their face is completely different because of their contouring. And there are some men out there that are like, "You're lying to me. You don't really look like that. How could you do this to me?" This is not a new thing, actually. This has been going on since the early 1900s. In fact, in 1915, it was a misdemeanor for any woman under the age of 40 to wear makeup.
Of course.
Yeah.
But the men could do it.
Well, actually, at that day, even the men didn't do it very often.
Oh, yeah.
There was a good long time in the older past where men wore makeup quite a bit. In fact, painting your face entirely was common to make yourself look pale. But in the 1900s, they really kind of stopped doing that. The only places where you saw makeup were on the stage, reciting Shakespeare, or on the corner looking for Johns.
Yes.
So that got it a little bit of a stigma. One of the more popular brands these days, Max Factor, actually opened its doors in 1909 as a theatrical makeup company.
Yes, they did. That's one of the first times I heard about that. Okay, so it is not really like I like it on my nose. You can see I did a little bit of it, but like just even for this, like just trying to blend it out a little bit, you can see it's very faint, but you can see that it's still there. It has like this kind of like illusion of it. And so then I'm just going to take this one and I'm going to hit it right here along the side of my nose and then right on the edge. So we're going to kind of give it an illusion of like a skinnier nose as we go, and then I'm just going to go ahead and take another brush after that and just kind of make it not as brown or angular.
Now, the reason that she's doing it like this, by putting the line right there, she's giving it a look like she's actually got more visible cheekbone by creating a shadow right underneath where it would be. And doing similar with the nose to kind of give that feeling that there's more definition going on in there.
Now, to be fair, I don't normally do my nose. I used to do my nose a lot, but I don't do it anymore. Mostly because that's just too much work. I don't want to do it that way.
The nose is always way too much work.
It kind of is.
During my research, I actually found out something very interesting about Max Factor. Most of my life, I thought that Max Factor was just a couple of words that they slapped together.
No.
Yeah, it's actually a guy's name.
Yeah.
It was Maximilian, and then it was a word I can't pronounce. But you could shorten it down to Factor.
Yeah.
So in 1909, they opened up their doors, and in 1910, the Russian ballet blew up. Like, it was everywhere. People,
oh, yeah?
All women wanted to start looking like these ballerinas, so they came into Max Factor to get the rouge that the actresses wore.
Which is what we're going to do now. I'm using the Laura Geller Baked Blush and Brighten in Pink Grapefruit. It is very pigmented. Be warned, I'll have to buff more out. This is Luxie 660 brush. I think I got this in like an Ipsy bag, and it's got a purple handle, and I love it. It is supposed to be a precise foundation brush, but it works very well for actual blush. So I'm just gonna put this basically right, I'm gonna smile, and then I'm gonna put this right here, and then I'm just gonna kind of blend it back a little bit. Kind of right on top of the same line as the contour that you see right here.
And in a later episode, we're going to be talking a lot more about blush and why it's used, how it's used, what it's all about. But also in those days, men didn't like seeing women in rouge either. Because they saw it as a sign of lust, of sex, of sinfulness. And also, they looked at a woman who was wearing rouge and went, "You ugly," because they thought she was hiding her ugliness. It wasn't until 1920s in the film culture and the flapper culture that modern ideas of makeup as making yourself look good and also as an art form really started to come into its own.
Now, if you guys don't know, though, in order to kind of simulate the look of a blush or rouge on people's cheeks, they would pinch them. So the blood would rush to the surface and they would get like this nice rosy glow that people get when they have blush. Isn't that really weird? Like, I don't know. Okay, I'm totally into Anne of Green Gables. I have been since I was like It's the redhead thing. But if you ever saw that one with Megan Follow, she would pinch her cheeks and then she'd go like this. That's what she was doing. She was trying to have like a rosy cheek complexion.
And at the same time, you get the 1920s, flapper culture. Do you remember a big movie about 1920s? There was first few lines in there, Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Yes.
Yeah. They were talking about painting your lips and pencil lining your brows. It's now very acceptable. At that point, because of the film culture, the cosmetics industry began to change into an acceptable thing.
Very true.
So now we're at where we're at now. And so if you are looking at somebody doing a contouring look and you're like, you're lying to me, I'm sorry to say, you need to start looking at it from a more modern perspective. This is a form of artistic expression as well as a form of actually making yourself look good.
Exactly.
And if you are looking at it entirely from the perspective that they don't look like that normally without their makeup, then do you really have a right to wear a shirt that has a graphic on it? You're expressing yourself through that.
Exactly.
So don't be as judgmental. So far she's done the contouring and the blush, and the next thing that we do have to talk about is highlighting. This is the other portion of the shading. So she's got to make certain areas of her face pop back out.
So I'm going to be using the Pirates of the Caribbean face palette, which I probably should have used the blush, but I'm actually going to be using this in a complete eye look coming up, so I didn't want to use all of it. But for this, I'm just going to use probably this really gorgeous color called Fortune. That's this highlight shade right here. And for the brush, I am using a Real Techniques contour brush, which I tend to use a lot because you can just fit it right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do here and here, then the top of my nose and the Cupid's bow. And Marshall's probably going to explain why I'm doing it in those spots.
Well, primarily, these are the spots that when you have a face that is more contoured in the way that we would normally think of, those areas are going to be more forward. Not only that, they're also going to be the ones that are going to get hit by light first, and so they're going to be brighter. So when you're putting your highlight in those spots, it's going to make them pop, make them look a little further forward to the person that you are talking to. So that, combined with the shading that you've already done in here, will make the areas look forward and back the way that they should. And you could, at that point, then start to blend some of it together in the way that we do when we're doing illustrations, and it starts to look nice and smooth all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there you go.
There you go. You like how you're looking?
Sure.
You feel like you've expressed yourself?
Yes.
Good.
Express myself like Madonna. Anyway, thank you for spending time with us today. Make sure you join us on Wednesdays, Fridays,
And sometimes Sundays.
and until then,
Stay zany.
bye-bye.